I mean, it's just amazing. And then I went and did some research and found out he was there for an award ceremony. He was there in 2006. He did go to that bar. There's people talking about photos they took with him, you know, sign deals, how some of Jesse's family was there. And I called Ty. He goes, yeah, I wasn't there, but I know about him going. The family would have said something about this. I've never heard of that. You know, somebody punching him and then, you know, knocking him back and then didn't knock him out, but then running away. But he goes, I know my dad didn't say, you know, SEALs deserve to die. I know that's not true. And so, again, they're now got headlines everywhere. Navy SEAL knocks out truther Ventura. And then I find out this guy is involved as a liaison to a group run by Dick Cheney and Richard Pearl. And I've got all the research right here. It's mind-blowing. It's on the guy's Wikipedia page, too, with links to it. And that he gets all these awards, and that he's liaisoning now basically the training of U.S. police. And it looks like he might be basically an Israeli front to train the police. Because it's been in the news, the Israelis are training police, and it's like a foreign government's training our police to fight domestic insurgents. And he, again, he heads up a group for, quote, diplomatic security, level security, and sniper training for the military and police. And he's tied in with all these groups, and it's just, and then he's got this top publisher coming out, and the way they're going to promote the book and sell him as the new hero guy that'll come in and tell our cops to get ready to fight the, you know, militias, basically, is this gung-ho Navy SEAL with the record number of kills. And then you find out it's Fallujah and other turkey shoots where people dare rise up to occupation when the contractors were abusing them, we now know. And it's turkey shoots, and then I researched, and he's bragging about turkey shoots, about shooting a woman, and they're savages, and he doesn't like folks that try to create fear. Then I got quotes about how he loves instilling fear, and he wears skull hats and black uniforms. I mean, they're setting him up as the guy to be the Judas goat, I guess, to teach us that martial law is loving and good under NDAA. And he's going after Ventura.
Big Bird.
And I'll get more into the Ventura story later. His son is up in Minnesota doing jury duty, and he gets out at noon Central, so he should be calling into the show a little bit after that. So Tyrell can respond for his father. He doesn't even know if this is true. It's just some guy getting awards from Dick Cheney and Richard Pearl, and who is helping train our law enforcement to deal with domestic threats, and runs a mercenary security firm. He's now going to sell his book under the promotion of trying to defame Jesse Ventura and say that he looked at the family and said, I think the SEALs need to die. It's just, and I've seen so many of these dirty tricks come out of the same people. It was the New York Post reporter back with Jeremy Tallis, and they went ahead and went to court 5 years ago, 4.5 years ago, went to court, and they called the Secret Service, and the Secret Service wouldn't lie. The New York police did lie on the stand. They're there to cover Mrs. Bush giving a speech, the president's wife. They're outside of Barnes & Noble. They're out there in front of the police. They've got their cameras. And a guy runs up with his daughter in a wheelchair and starts ramming it into the We Are Change people, saying, don't attack my daughter. Don't attack my daughter. And they're just standing there. And later it showed, the security camera stuff showed that. All you see is him with the camera, and they're running up into him. He's like, hey, don't do that. What are you doing? Stop it. So even their video shows it. And it was on the news. Truther attacks disabled girl in wheelchair. Like the worst thing they can think up is sitting around going, we'll set these guys up. We'll have our New York Post people there. They'll run with it. New York Post had to do a retraction, by the way, when the trial happened, and the Secret Service agent got up and said, well, I'm not going to lie. They were ramming into them. They didn't do anything. And boy, that judge got upset, talking to Luke and others that were in there. There's no footage of it. And they would have the girl come in the wheelchair with like a big teddy bear in her lap and try to, they could do something like this to me, folks. They could, have somebody in a wheelchair as I'm walking down the street just to run into me and say I'm attacking children in wheelchairs. I mean, This is what they'll do. So they're sitting there and they go, what do we come up with? Well, we'll have Jesse Ventura says it's good the SEALs are dying. And then he punches him and then runs away. Because, see, they know there's not going to be any report of it. So the guy says, oh, and then I ran away. Right as his book comes out, and he runs a Merck firm. And he's getting weird, creepy awards from, I'm going to pull up the documents. I pulled them up last night and forgot to IM to the guys. Did a bunch of research. But I've got some of it here. It's just mind-blowing to see this happen. But, and again, Ventura's out of the country. So we can't get a hold of him. They sure launched this right the perfect day, didn't they? Right as he left the United States and out of pocket. But who knows? I mean, maybe they did get in an argument. Maybe the guy did punch Ventura and then run off. I mean, maybe that happened. Maybe, I mean, Ty says it's impossible. His dad wouldn't say that. I know him and he wouldn't act like that. But maybe, I mean, maybe Easter bunnies are real. Maybe there are pots of gold at the end of rainbows and leprechauns. Maybe there are mermaids. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can't say 100% that this guy's lying. And again, I don't usually get into soap opera type issues like this, but this is such a illustration of what's happened to our society. And then you look at all the stuff that this guy's into, it is just crazy. And then I've got all these articles about how they're watching the kids at home. The schools are over their laptops. Beyond 1984, just public, back in the news. And government to issue bracelets to children to track you even when you're at home. That's mainstream news today. I'm going to be covering checkpoints popping up where the government has machine guns and searches people and checks their IDs. In Tennessee and Florida, again, this week, they're popping up, and Michigan. I mean, imagine you're just walking down the street or driving or going in a building, and there's guys in full body armor with German Shepherds lining you up and frisking you and checking your IDs, bugging their eyes out at you. And I've got the footage of this all over the country. You pull up, and there's state police under federal command, all, you know, in a rock-ready stance, shaking with fury, like they're about to climb in the ring and fight some 900-pound goblin. I mean, it's like they've been under mind control or something. They see a station wagon with a family pull up, and they act like, it's like mind control. I don't know how I get out of this nightmare, how this ends, where we just try to go report stuff, and there's a guy with a wheelchair ramming it in, going, stop assaulting, stop assaulting. And then you learn the guy's all hooked up with George W. Bush and New York City and the government and government contracts.
We're the crown king out there.
So, a guy rolling out a big mercenary company for your local police to meet insurgents here in America, all part of this delusion that domestic groups are going to engage in all these attacks, so we need to have TSA on the streets running checkpoints. He's the guy now trying to take down Jesse Ventura. All this will do is probably make Jesse actually be more politically involved. He's actually pretty much riding off into the sunset, but they don't care. That's how they operate. Sell some books, you know, say that Jesse's happy Navy SEALs are being killed. That is so ridiculous. On its face, I don't believe it. I mean, just the fact that he says this now, 6 years later, writing a book, and it's not in the book, but he puts it out. I guess the publisher didn't want that in there, did they? I'm going to stop talking about that. It's just, it's intriguing when you start researching something. I remember talking to Jeremy Tallis. That's his nickname. His full name's German Tallis. And saying, okay, you're saying they came out of a doorway, sort of ramming you with a disabled girl in a wheelchair, and then yelling, don't attack her over and over again. And I had Michelle Malkin's people behind me screaming, kill Michelle Malkin, and then leaving with her. So I'd experienced stuff like that. I guess that happened right around the same time, actually. Now go back 4.5 years ago, almost 5 years. So I understand those things go on. And you always know, because suddenly it's in the Denver Post. It's all over the news. It's all over blogs within like 30 minutes with the same talking point. And then we release the video showing it's them behind her and behind me yelling it. But still the media wouldn't retract till I threatened to sue them. because I had to. They were defaming me, going, Alex is the guy that says kill women. They're slick, ladies and gentlemen. And then I finally got the footage about a week later, because he had been arrested and stuff, and finally saw it uploaded online, and it showed he wasn't attacking her, but you couldn't really tell because she's ramming in, and he's going, stop it, stop hitting me. Hey, what are you doing? And the camera turns. So we've got that going on. And then it comes out in court, and the Secret Service agents wouldn't lie and said, yeah, no, they attacked him. He didn't do that. And so you never know what's true with all these dirty tricks going on. You just see that when something's rolled out a certain way, it's got the smell, it's got the look, it's got the signature all over it. And it just illustrates the type of dirty tricks we're up against. And then you find out this guy's training police. This country's so gone. I mean, it is so run by foreign banks and all the fake economic numbers they're putting out. And this latest report put out about how Obama's going to cut the military. That's all left cover. Obama increased the overall budget for the military the last 3 years running. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's kind of like they claim that they've pulled out of Iraq, but 70,000+ contractors are there, getting paid 4 or 5 times what regular enlisted troops are paid, or even officers in many cases. And that's basically a puppet government over there. But they just tell the public the Iraq war is over. I mean, this is a system that is so corrupt that it openly grows the opium in front of everyone and has the Marines and Army and the rest of them guard it and grow it and then put it on aircraft, because that's what patriots do. And they put that on Fox News, CNN, BBC with straight faces. And I talk to people that defend the status quo, and they go, well, we've got to help grow the opium, or Al-Qaeda will get the money. And I'm like, but you want the cops setting up checkpoints to find drugs that the government grew and shipped in, and is producing 13 times what they were pre-U.S. invasion of Afghanistan. Hey, our government just put Al-Qaeda in charge of Libya on record. You understand that? And they go, yeah, well, sometimes you got to work with Al-Qaeda, but I've got to give all my rights up because of Al-Qaeda. We've got to attack Iran because they're with Al-Qaeda, even though the White House, before this one and the current one, have 5 different groups, 4 of them known Al-Qaeda, attacking the Iranians inside Iran on record, even though our government created Al-Qaeda. Do you understand that? Do you understand Anwar al-Awlaki, number 3 in Al-Qaeda, dying secretly with the Secretary of the Army? That's even Fox News. Do you understand I've interviewed the heads of the U.S. Embassy who were ordered to let Mohammed Atta and others into the country and were told their terrorism designation is a cover. They work for CIA. I mean, this is in the newspapers. I've interviewed the people that saw it happen. I've interviewed the lawyer and his wife who, see the government get the underwear bomber on Christmas Day on the aeroplane a month and a half before the Detroit Free Press had to report it, because it was on C-SPAN with the Undersecretary of State saying, don't blame us. We were ordered to help get him on the aircraft by an unnamed U.S. agency. Intelligence. I mean, you can't make this up. You cannot make up